Okay. Just gonna apologize now because I got a raspy throat, so I'm probably gonna cough a lot, clear my throat a lot, all that sort of thing. So what I'm going to be doing tonight is finishing up the B-Star sword that I modeled last week. There's the culprit. I think that I've got everything all the UVs unwrapped as I need them to be. But let's check to make sure. Select all. There we go. And the end goal is that all of these will share excuse me, all of these will share one map, which is why that map was restricted to this bottom right corner here. And all of the pieces are set up like that. Do we have this? Do we have any modifiers on this one? Nope. Cleared all those out. So technically, what I could do is combine all these, which I will do right now. Make sure I got everything. I do. Control J. Ugh. Although, really we don't need any definition quite yet. And so what I need to do here, oh, that was dumb, because I don't actually need that. What I need to do is switch to texture paint, and oh, look at that, I've done no naming. Oh, that's no good. All right, so we got the B-Star sword. Go to property chart. I suppose I might have had all of this taken care of before, and it might have gotten erased when I joined them, because I joined them in the reverse of what I needed to. Not sure. And we got wrap material, which actually, now that I'm looking at that, I think that's right. What do we have? We don't. B-Star sword material. And for anybody who might be watching this, now or in the future, it is in fact very important that you name all of this stuff, because Blender does not care if you name everything, if you name your texture and your material and your item all the same thing. And that's just really confusing. Don't do it. It's not good for lots of reasons. So I do low poly models, in case you haven't caught on to that. But I also do low resolution textures. So we're going to go down to 250. I might even go smaller than that. I'll stick with 256, and then we can shrink it down if we need to. I usually prefer to go the other way around because it makes it look more retro, but we'll go with this for now. And it hasn't shown up, and that's because, well, not because of this. I'm going to save it. But the reason it's not showing up on our model, let's zoom in on that. Excuse me. You know, I'm sure there's a way to mute so very sure. Let's find out. Hotkeys. There we go. I don't know. Sure. Well, let's hope that's not bound to anything else. It is. All right. How about this? My bad. Test that out. It doesn't work. All right. So I'm just taking a moment to try and bind a hotkey to a mute button. It's just not working. No, not that. Let's try that. If that doesn't work, doesn't work. All right, I'll have to figure it out some other time. My apologies. Can't mute it. Okay. Or my apologies for wasting all that time trying to figure out how to mute it. Either way, my apologies, and let's get back to work. So, let's save real quick. And we want to switch to Node Editor. No, we don't. I don't want to mess with the world. Oh, here we go. That'll do. Rich texture. B star sword. We want to switch this texture interpolation. The second drop down. It's not marked, which makes it a little confusing. But I switch it to closest because otherwise it tries to what's the word? I guess, well, interpolate is the word. It tries to upscale the texture as you would with like GIMP, or which is what we're working with today, GIMP or whatever. However, we don't want that. No. Okay. And actually, we got some weird stuff going on here with, I don't know, that might work to our advantage because the blade. All right, let me articulate what I just said. So this area here, which is the bevel on the sword, and here, it's got this weird thing going on with the texture, which is undoubtedly because of the UVs. I mean, that's not right. I squared off the edges here, which I probably shouldn't have in the grand scheme of things. However, with a sword, it would, and we should fix this one though. This back part. A sword would have, what would you even call it? Diagonal lines like that, because that's how the beveled edge of a blade looks. So I guess I'm not too concerned about that. This is not working as I had hoped. All right, well, let's back it up. We'll just leave it as is. And if it looks terrible, so be it. lesson learned for next time, for the way that I'm doing this. All right, so I've saved the, apparently I like to use the royal we. I've saved the image. So what I'm going to do is, so you could go into texture paint and run it that way, paint it that way. And actually what I'm going to do right now is just give it a fill, a good proper fill. Let's make this bleed a little bit bigger. Yeah. So if you look at my UVs here, the image editor, it's bled plenty past the line, except for maybe here. That's not great. Ah, I am sorry. Yeah, I didn't think this would be so bad, so I'll just pull this up every time. So I'm going to make a few fixes here. This one edge is a little bit not far enough over. So it hasn't bled enough for my tastes. It's probably fine. Let's be honest. I'm probably being too particular. But, yeah. I'm still going to do it. Paint curve, we set that to square. Really should save these things. And we'll do a line. There we go. Oh, forgot to reduce or increase the opacity. Got a nice line there. Everything else seems all right. I don't think I'm going to have any issues because there is bleed past the line in almost every other place. It's just that diagonals worry me a bit, and so I overcompensate. You can actually say the same is true of all bleed on these things, but that they all worry me. But I'm trying to not worry too much about that because it takes too much time to go through and make extra big lines for each and every one. Are we still live? We should still be live. Alright, well, I fear that my feed has been kind of crummy. Because apparently I had my Wi-Fi on and I think it was feeding through the Wi-Fi instead of the wire. Alright, anyway, let's get to it. So, what I was about to do, is I'm just going to color each of these pieces. It doesn't really matter if it's accurate. In fact, it's probably better if it's not, because then you know you have to fix it. I know I have to fix it. So I just use sort of strong, bold colors that do not at all represent what I want the final product to look like, so that I know what needs to be changed. Alright. Now let's save that image. And now what we're going to do is open up GIMP for the first time. this evening. While that's loading. I haven't really had the time to... what are you doing? Here we go. I haven't really had the time to work on this, as you can see. Yeah, that's it. So that's why we're working on it tonight. So we're going to open up this and Just going to open up that image, and we're going to work from here. Now, the things I'm about to do could very easily be done using, well, not easily, I would say, but could be done using Blender itself, the texture paint. And the reason I don't is just because I'm comfortable with... Oh, what are you? I think that's the hilt. Let's switch back and have a look. I'm comfortable with GIMP, and as such, it's just easier for me to do all of the work in GIMP. At some point, I would like to get... There's an add-on out there that makes the texture paint more closely... makes it more closely resemble a painting program, which would be immensely helpful for my workflow. I just haven't gotten it yet. Once I do, I will learn it, and then I'm gonna use that. Off the top, Bee Painter, that's what it's called. It's called Bee Painter. I've seen some demos of it. It looks really good. And guard. And all I'm doing right now is just separating everything into its own layer. Again, probably not necessary, but it just gives me a level of control that, I don't know, makes me feel more comfortable, I guess. So, handle. It's not the word for it. I'm sure it's not. This is the cross pad. Wait, that thing's huge. Why did I make it so big? Well, we'll leave it as is for now. Cross pad. Actually, I'm gonna put that in there as well. If layer to image size, V, and let's anchor it down in there. Just because that is part of the cross pad. And since we're making that assessment, this is part of the handle. So Control X, or Command X in my case. That's not right. Anchor it down. And yeah, this is the last part. And that is the wrap. Okay. So we'll start with the sword. Trying to decide how I want to do this part. So the problem is that with the sword being one solid UV and having angles like this, I'm going to get pixelation on the edge here. Not on any of the other ones. This edge or this edge, just the top edge. And I wonder how much I care about that. You know what? Let's save these UVs so that we can use those as guides. Select all. Switch this to view. UVs. Save UV. There we go. Export UV layout. We're going to call that B*_UV. Export. Export. There we go. And I realize now that I didn't select all, so it might not have done everything. Let's see if we can get this in here as a layer, and if it will be helpful. Yes, yes it will. You didn't do any of the other ones. Oh wait, yes you did. I just don't have this on the top. This is my biggest issue, is that working with the UV layout, exporting it like that, you can already see that it doesn't line up with how my UVs actually sit. So, for example, this back edge here. Oh, I guess it does. Okay. Well, ultimately the problem is that this has a pixel width, whereas this does not. So everything inside these lines is what we're coloring, whereas in this case, I don't know if the black represents, I don't know if the black is inside or outside the UVs. For the most part, that's not going to make a difference, but it is going to make a difference for this, for the sword, for the blade, rather, because we need to know, we're going to be doing different things for different parts of the UV. So ideally, we would know what is going to fit. Okay. I think I'm just kind of babbling now, so I'm just going to take a moment to do what needs to get done. There we go. All right, so now we have some, I have some numbers with which to work on for the, I have some hex for the colors that I want to work with. That's what I'm trying to say. So we have the main part of the sword, the non-edge part. I wish I knew sword words, but I don't. That's going to be 5EBCA1. Since we're doing a gradient, we'll do that, but just a little darker, maybe. Let's desaturate it a little bit, and we'll make it a little darker. So it's not a huge difference. This is going to be radial. I've got it set up for radial right now. I don't want to do that, so we're going to set it for linear. And let's do it. That's not bad. Well, I want to see what it looks like if we have a short one. Not crazy about that. Let's make it a little bit longer. I think that's good. And then let's just invert it. Dang it. I accidentally did it to the UVs, not the sword texture itself. Okay, let's try this again, huh? Alright, that looks alright. That looks fine. Now if we go and invert it, and just to be thorough, I'm going to remove the excess parts here. Again, so not necessary. But listen, you know, like I will be the first person to admit that all of this tiny busy work is not important. But it's my process, and so that's just where I'm at. It's my process. That's as much as I can say about the whole situation. So let's have a look at the rest of the sword here. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, what if instead of doing what we have here, all right, so what I'm thinking is that instead of filling in the rest of the yellow as we would see fit, let's make this another layer. Okay, like so. I don't know, sword flat. That's wrong. That's not the right one. That's okay. So we'll just rename it sword edge. Now, in theory, well, let's add that one too. There we go. In theory, what we should be able to do is just add a whole flat color to this, just for effect. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm rambling. I'm going back and forth. I apologize. So what I'm going to do is this sword edge. I'm just going to give that a fill. This isn't the final fill. This is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the other color that I have listed here. But then what I'm going to do is take this sword, and since this edge has a bit of a it has a bit of opacity. It looks like it's done a little anti-aliasing on the diagonal line there. So hopefully that will shine through, or hopefully the underside will act as a background, and then we can take the sword and just set it as, I don't know, light dissolve. Kind of looks cool in a weird sort of way. But we can make it so that it is imposed on top of the background, which is the edge. If that made any sense. I hope it did. So, with the sword edge, let's go to gradient. And our gradient, our first color is DDFFEE. Okay. And then we'll swap it. And actually, the color that I have right now is probably good, but let's give it a little bit more saturation, a little darker. No. I mean, it looks like it's as bright as it could possibly be, so let's try less saturation. Let's see how that looks. It's pretty subtle. Very subtle, actually. We're going to give this a radial. No, we want to go with a square gradient. And then this is probably kind of cheating. Because what I'm doing is, instead of doing individual gradients on each edge, I'm doing a gradient on just one solid gradient. It doesn't look that good. I don't like it. So I will adjust. Oh, yeah, I still don't like that. Let's try reducing the value. No, I don't like that either. Let's pick a different color. It's confusing me. A different base color, so I know what I'm working with each time, and I have something to back it up against, or compare it to. That's a better word. So let's try this blue color. Just back it down in the value. Yeah, it's still kind of really subtle. You know what? I'm just gonna try it. Leave it like that, and we can come back if we need to. So for this angle, go with something like that. No, I think that's good. And then we'll go in here. Last one. Suddenly this other one looks weird. Let's fix that, maybe. Don't really know why it looks weird. All right, well, now we're going to save it. Save. File, export. And this will absolutely replace it, and we want that. That's what we want. Switch back to Blender, Alt-R. Let's see how this looks. Minus the edge here, which is exactly what I was talking about, because we don't know that black edge. We don't know how that overlaps the actual color. So I have two options here. I could go into GIMP and fix it that way by overlapping the black a little bit more. We're getting the same issue here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's bleeding over the edge. I'm less concerned about that. I'd more rather fix this blue edge. Or I got an idea. Let's take this. No, what are you doing? Oh, you're stuck on add. Take this edge, and let's just do that. We'll change the color on there. Easy fix. Maybe. So we still obviously have the line there. It's still pretty clear that it's there. But it looks like it's supposed to be there, which is good. And now that I've done that, I kind of like it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it for all of the sides. We got to start this again. For the sake, and I'm making an outline, so I'm not too concerned about what is or isn't in, I guess. Maybe I am. I don't know, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we got a line there. Do not have a line there, which means we have to back it up a little bit more. And I forgot to do the diagonal edge. Let's do that. There we go. Nope, that's a little bit too much. Save, export, Alt-R. All right, there we go. Gives it a little bit more of a, I don't know, a retro 3D low poly look. Oh, I sprayed water all over myself. Apparently this thing was open already. All right. Did I get it on my book? I did. That's sad. All right, so now we move on to the cross pad. We gotta go back to GIMP. Oh, you know what I just realized? The reason that's not working. All right, well, c'est la vie. Sorry about that. Well, now it's not switching. Let's see if this fixes it. Technical difficulties, my apologies. Just trying to fix this. I don't have any idea what's going on with OBS. I have automatic scene switcher installed, and that's just being weird. I don't have any idea why. It just is. Have to fix it some other time. In the meantime, let's finish this bad boy up. Okay, so where were we at? We were gonna do. I was gonna do the cross pad. Yeah. So let's do that. We're gonna select those. Excuse me. Those pieces, and then grab the gradient and I guess a square makes the most sense. The color that we're going to go for is FFF727. Just a strong yellow. And then, what about the other one? I think I'll just do a little less saturation, a little less value. I'll go right in the center and shoot it out like that. I feel like I might have accidentally done the left side correctly. All right, idea. Let's make this dramatically darker. I don't want it to show up that much, quite that much. So let's increase the value. We're getting there. We're getting there. So now let's grab this, and this is going to be let's grab this, And even darker, because this would be the part that is shadowy. And really all I'm doing here is, the only reason I'm using a gradient here is because then it provides a little bit of variation. There's other ways to provide variation, of course, which we will do later. But right now I'm just putting down the base colors, which I will be putting detail on afterwards. All right, that's not bad. I like that. The shall we say shaded part looks more like an outline, gives it some definition, and the gradient on the cross pad isn't actually really bold, but it's you know, it's subtle and gives it some variation. It's, I don't know, I like it. That's really all I'm trying to say. So now let's do some work with the handle. Now the handle is not something I picked color for. Well, that stinks. What color am I going to use? You know what? I got an extra color here for the handguard, so I used one of them. Let's see what those look like. 2, 5, 4, 1, 5, 3. Nope, 1, 3, 3. We got this green, this dark green. We'll plop that in the palette. 100 D66. We got a dark blue. Okay. Neither of which is really gray, is it? So we'll go with the dark blue, and we'll just we'll copy that to the other side. Reduce the saturation. Seems reasonable. As a alternating bit. I'm going to go bilinear. I'm just going to apply it to this top part. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Let's see if we can spread it out a little bit more. Not too much. That looks alright. Alright, so let's switch this. I'm going to switch this to radial. And I'm going to grab this end piece. There we go. Let's make it a little more. Actually, we should probably swap it. Well, let's see how it looks. And right here is the part where it'd be really helpful to have more skill, more abilities, more capabilities with the painting software inside Blender. Maybe, you know, maybe it's entirely there, and I just don't know how to use it. I just think that it could be more efficient. That's all. All right, so that's fine. So now let's do the handguard. What was the handguard? The handguard was that other color that we already loaded in. This green-gray. I'm going to use the green-gray again and just dial down the saturation. Way dial down the saturation, as it turns out. And this radial, we'll use square. That's probably better. All right. Again, subtle. Not obvious that it's there, but it gives some color variation, which is helpful for the process here. Let's see how it looks. All right. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Cool. Okay. So the only thing we have left is the wrap. Let's grab that. And the wrap is going to be red. That is FC0005. That's really strong. So for the corollary color, let's dial it way down. And yeah, I I don't know if I even want to do a radius on this, or sorry, a gradient on this one. Let's try bilinear. See how that looks. Way too strong. All right, yeah, I can live with that. See how it looks? Alt-R. That's quite what we're looking for. And this blue, I don't like it. It doesn't really fit. So we're going to go back here. Farts. Do that. So the problem with using gradients is that then you lose your ability to grab stuff just using the lasso tool. The magic wand tool. Fuzzy select tool is what they call it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine too. Bilinear. That's not what I wanted. Swap those colors as we want, because I want the green to be pretty subtle. I prefer that. I prefer the gray, but the green adds an interesting color variant on the whole. So we want to keep that in there. All right. Yeah, much better. Because otherwise the handle just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. All right, so now we got our blade here. It's looking, the base colors are looking quite good. We need some variance, some variation. The way we're going to do that is, the way I'm going to do that is to grab, we'll start with the blade, we'll go to the sword edge, and for this edge, I'm going to do a motion blur. Now the real question is, in which direction do I do the motion blur? I think that direction. We're going to send it to the right. Reshow. Oh, doy. I forgot. We got to add our noise. So make a new layer. Bring it all the way to the top. I'm just going to call it our noise layer, and what I do here is I just add a, where is it? Do some hurl noise. Also, we got to take this off. That seems fine. For the sake of this, I'm just going to do a universal, but let's take this layer and scale it up. I'm just going to do a universal noise layer, but normally what I would probably do, I mean, it depends on what I'm going for, but often what I would do is do a specific kind of noise for each piece. In the case of a sword, it would probably be, the only piece that would probably be different as far as texture goes is the wrap, and I have ways that I can fix that part. Maybe the cross pad, I suppose. It depends on what the cross pad is made of. So now what I'm going to do is with the sword edge piece selected, go like this. Oh, right. I also need to desaturate this. Yeah, that looks good. And then adjust the level so it's not so strong. That's fine. And adjust the blend. What I could do, again, I could make a different layer for each one. Ooh, I like that. I like the burn. I think we're going to go with burn, and we're just going to reduce the opacity so it's not so strong. 50% seems fine. We'll grab it. And what I'm doing here is a motion blur on the noise, not on the actual colors, which is what I was doing before, and that's the wrong way to go about it. Because this is adding a level of detail. Yeah, that's the wrong one. Reshow. That's better. I'm pretty sure I want to do 180. Do the length as 4. Yeah, that's good. That is good. Do the same thing here, but we want to reverse it. And then do the same thing up here. Adjust it to 90. Yeah, all right. Save. All right. Messed that up, didn't I? All right, that's fine. We'll just select the sword. We'll reapply the blur. Or, no, let's delete. And we'll reapply the noise. In case you didn't notice, I accidentally blurred the noise that would wind up on the actual sword itself, which I do not want. Actually, I think I'm going to leave it like that. I am going to desaturate it first and then adjust the levels again so it's not so strong. I'm just not going to scale it. And then let's try motion blur and see if we can do a, yeah, I don't like that, a zoom blur. Ooh, yeah, let's do that. Okay. All right. I like that. Let's see it on the sword. Yeah. Makes it look like it's going super fast. It's just a stupid reason to do it. Anyway. So, and I'm noticing another problem here is that the cross pad is so big that those pixels are showing up much smaller than anywhere else. Which, if I left these, I said that I was gonna, yeah. Let's make them more subtle. Save, export it out. And then these pixels, you see, they don't actually look that bad now, comparatively. Because this is so big, because the cross pad is so big, it's apparently twice the size of what it should be. It was, yeah, it looked weird. So these, yeah. So I'm thinking, actually, after all of that effort and whatever, I am going to scale up these bits of noise. Just double it. Scale. It doesn't work. Does not work. All right. So how to do it. How to do it. I think maybe the way to do it is just to delete it. We'll make a new noise layer. Noise 2. And this one, I'll make noise. Same consistency, that seems fine. Desaturate, adjust the levels. Still burn. And we'll dial it down some. But what I'm going to do, first of all, take that layer, scale it up, 512, like the rest, and then grab the sword and the cross pad, invert the selection, delete everything else. There we go. We'll export that out, see how it looks. Looks fine. I could use an even greater reduction, I think, of the opacity. The problem is that we're losing the definition of the noise on the cross pad. But yeah, I don't know if I care all that much. Let's see if we can adjust the levels so that's a little darker. Yeah, that'll work. Just so it's a little more pronounced. All right. That seems fine. So let's take this noise. And I don't think we need to do any motion blur on anything else, but I definitely want to reduce the strength. Jeez Louise. This is some serious business here. All right, let's just take out some of the black of it, the darkness of it. It just seems so stark. Yeah, okay, so we're actually, I was about to complain about the fact that you can see repetition in the wrap, which you can, and that's a problem, question mark. But from a distance here, it's hard to see. And honestly, the way to fix that would be to maybe alternate or have 2 or 3 UV groups and alternate between them so that you can repeat and you still have some variation, but at the same time you're not doing more work than you need to. So instead of doing an individual one for, how many reps is that? 7? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For 7 reps. Instead of doing individual ones for 7 reps, you're doing 3. Which 7 isn't all that bad. So, all right, I'm gonna call it a night because I've completely lost my any comfort in my voice. I might do some more detailing on this. If I do, I will definitely stream that. And if I do, that will probably be this week. Probably not next week. Yeah, okay. I will see you folks again soon. Bye. Yeah. Soon. Just babbling now. Let's save this. Save this.